So today I'm going to be making a tomato lentil soup. Obviously it's a vegan dish and it's also gluten free. So look, if you have any questions, just ask me as we go through. Nice small group, it's going to be easy. So going through the recipe ingredients, which you've got on your recipe sheet, the important thing of course will be the tin of tomatoes. Any tin will do, just have it open ready to go. Split red lentils. You can buy these just in packets from the supermarket. I like to get them from the bulk bin actually, and then I don't need to get plastic. A tiny bit of maple syrup for sweetness, some oil for the onion, and your tomato paste. And the most important ingredient I think for taste will be the stock cubes. You can also add a little bit of vegetable like some zucchini, anything like that, bit of broccoli if you want to as well, but I'm just going to make mine straight tomato lentil today. So the first thing that I want to do to get the dish running is just drop in a tiny bit of oil into the fry pan. I've preheated the oven so it's going to go nice and fast hopefully. Oops, here's the onion, and we'll fry that onion. Okay, so that will go, and while that's frying, oops, nice and sizzling, you can smell that onion. So when that's cooking, while that's cooking, I'll just show you these other ingredients in more detail. So the red lentils, these, when I became a vegetarian in the 80s, these are something we used to eat all the time because you couldn't get all the fake meats and what have you that you have now, and so I had to learn how to eat lentils, and I'd say the split lentil is one of the best lentils because it's the fastest. And the reason it's so fast to cook with is because they've taken off the outer skin, so you've just got the middle bit of the lentil. So lentils are fairly much a perfect food. They're high in protein, high in fibre, high in vitamins and minerals, and they've got virtually no fat. So it's a great food, and they're very versatile. I've just measured out 3/4 of a cup here. I'm going to add that with the tin of tomatoes, and because I want to have a really strong tomatoey flavour, I'm going to use this tomato paste. Now, tomato paste can be a little bit acidic, which is why I'm going to use the maple syrup just to take the edge off the acidity. I won't add the garlic immediately because if you add the garlic too early, it can burn a little bit, and I don't want that burnt garlic flavour. Now let me show you these stock cubes because you're probably quite surprised to see that they say chicken. So these are chicken stock cubes, but don't worry, no animal has suffered for the creation of these cubes. This brand, they do a range of chicken and beef stocks, and I have to say they're actually better than, well, even meat eaters say they're better than the real thing. So they have really strong flavour. Now in your recipe I've suggested 1 stock cube, but actually I'm going to put 2 in because I just find they give such a strong taste. You can also buy this powdered as well, and you'll find these in the gluten-free aisle in the supermarket, or sometimes just with the normal stock cubes. So those are the main ingredients. It's about time I added the garlic now. Can you smell the onion? There we go. I actually prefer to have the onion cut, oh that's great, in rings, because when you eat the soup it's quite nice to have like bits of onion, but if you don't like that you can chop it fine. Now while the onion's cooking, let me just tell you the story of the soup, because when I worked in this vegetarian restaurant in London, we're talking years and years ago, there were 3 chefs, first cook, second cook, third cook. I was the third cook, there was no fourth. And my job was to do the soups every day, and this is where I learned the recipe for this soup, and it was probably our most popular one, this tomato lentil soup. And the other reason why the restaurant made this soup is any left over at the end of the day, we would cook it down, reduce the moisture off it, and that would be the pizza sauce for the pizza the next day. So it's really versatile. Okay, well I think that's about ready to go. You can see, can you hear that sizzling away, and you can see that they've browned nicely. You don't really want them too brown. Okay, so now I'm going to add in the other ingredients. This is a very quick dish, because once that's done, you just throw everything in. I'm going to add in the tomatoes. Oh, that's lovely. Smells great. I'm going to add in my tomato paste, like that. And the cheapest way to use tomato paste, if you buy like a large tin of it, just freeze small parts on in your ice cube tray, and that way next time you need tomato paste, you don't have to open a whole tin or waste the stuff you don't need. Just bring out an ice cube. I'm going to add in just a tiny touch of the sweetener, just to take the edge off the acidity of the tomato paste, just a little bit. And now our 2 stock cubes, and our fantastic red lentils. Alright, Now,
Do you have to wash those?
well, most people do, and if I buy them actually from the bulk bin, I usually do because they can be a bit dusty. But I thought these were looking quite smart and clean, so I didn't.
No.
And then the water. So you put as much water in as you want your soup to be thick. Now the lentils are going to thicken slightly, but you don't want to cook it for too long because they will go quite mushy. And if you don't want to use split red lentils, you can use normal lentils, but it's just going to take a little bit longer. So if you can look here, you can see you've got this tomatoey coloured water, and that's going to cook really nicely now for about 15-20 minutes, and then it's going to be ready. If you don't want to eat it when you've cooked it, you can freeze it. You know, just freeze it in little tubs, and it's really great with garlic bread, for example. It's really yummy, really yummy. So that's your red lentil tomato soup, really easy. And thanks for coming to my cookery demo.